The stars were quiet in the black sky above the frozen moon called Kiral 7. Ice storms howled across its surface, sharp winds cutting like blades. But under the surface, something strange rested silently, a cracked alien escape pod half buried. In blue ice, no one had seen it for a long time. Until now, the human science ship Hopeseeker flew above Kiral 7, scanning the area for rare minerals. It was a peaceful mission, until the ship's sensors picked up a strange signal. It was weak, almost gone. But it was still there, a sign of life. "Captain Yell," said Mira, the ship's head doctor, "we're detecting a life form. It's faint ... but it's not human." Captain Yell walked to the screen and looked at the data. "Send a drone. I want visuals." A drone flew down into the storm. It found the pod quickly. Cameras showed a small glass window, and behind it, motionless figure. A young alien girl, curled up and frozen in place, her skin a soft shade of blue. Her eyes were closed, but her body still glowed faintly. "She's alive," whispered Mira. Soon, the pod was brought aboard the Hopeseeker. The engineering team carefully cut it open. The inside was cold like space, but Mira and her team worked fast. They moved the girl to the medical bay and wrapped her in heated blankets. Machines beeped. The girl didn't move. Mira checked her pulse. Slow but steady, she's breathing. "We need to warm her core temperature now." Dean, a quiet but smart engineer, looked at the alien tools inside the pod. "Some of this tech is organic. Like it's alive," he said. "Very advanced." "I don't care what it is," Mira said. "I just want her to live." Hours passed. Mira never left her side. She used both human medical machines and tools found in the pod. Dean helped connect the alien parts to their systems, using adapters. And codes. Suddenly, the alien girl twitched. "She's moving." Mira shouted. The girl opened her eyes slowly. They glowed white for a moment, then faded to a soft silver. She gasped and looked around in panic. She sat up fast, weak but alert, and backed away from everyone. "It's okay," Mira said gently. "You're safe, we helped you." The girl didn't understand the words, but she saw Mira's calm eyes. Slowly she stopped shaking. Mira showed her a glass of warm water. The girl sniffed it, then drank. Her hands were cold, her skin soft and thin like paper. Dean stepped forward and pointed to himself. "Dean," he said. Then to Mira. "Mira." The girl looked confused, then pointed to herself and said, "Rin." "Rin," Mira repeated. "That's your name?" Rin nodded slowly. Then, tired, she lay back down and closed her eyes again. Over the next 2 days, Rin gained strength. She didn't speak much but learned a few simple words. Mira and Dean stayed close. Rin would draw pictures on a tablet to explain things. Stars, fire, sickness. One drawing showed a planet covered in dark lines. Then a girl flying away in a pod. That girl had glowing eyes just like Rin. "She escaped something," Mira said softly. "Maybe war, maybe worse. She might be the last of her kind." Dean added. Rin heard the tone in their voices. She lowered her head, as if remembering something painful, but strange things started to happen. Lights would flicker when Rin walked nearby. The ship's computers showed odd patterns, glowing symbols, like the ones on Rin's pod. Rin herself began to glow softly at night. Her body radiated gentle heat, as if her energy was building again. One night, Rin pointed at a power outlet and said, "Sing." Dean raised an eyebrow. "Sing?" Rin touched the wall. The power panel flashed once, then played a soft tone. It sounded like music. "She's connected to the ship somehow," Mira whispered. "Or maybe to electricity itself. She's not just recovering," Dean said. "She's activating." Later that day, Mira ran a full medical scan. She wanted to see how Rin's body was healing. What she found was shocking. Her heartbeat was stronger than before. Her blood was changing color. But the most surprising thing was hidden deep inside. Her body something small. Something growing. Mira stared at the screen. That's impossible. She ran the scan again. It was still there. A small new life was forming inside Rin, not like a normal child. This wasn't something Mira understood. Dean saw Myra's face and asked, "What is it?" Mira looked at him, still stunned. "Rin's. Not just healing, she's pregnant." Dean stepped back. "What? How? We've done nothing." "I know," Mira said quickly. "It's not that. This is something different. Something alien. It may have started during the healing process. Something we triggered by mistake. Mira didn't tell Rin yet. She didn't want to scare her, but Rin seemed to sense something. That night, she looked out the window of the ship into the stars. Hand resting on her belly. Her glowing eyes blinked slowly, as if listening to a voice no one else could hear. Something had begun, and no one knew what it meant. But one thing was certain. Humanity had saved her life. And now they were part of a miracle they didn't understand. After 1 week aboard the Hope Seeker, Rin had become more comfortable. She no longer feared Mira or Dean. She smiled more, especially when Mira brought her new foods or soft blankets. She still spoke little, but she learned quickly. Every day, she picked up new human words. "Water," she said softly one morning. Mira smiled and handed her a cup. "Yes, water. Good job." Rin touched the cup and added, "Warm." Dean, standing near the door, clapped slowly. "That's 2 words. Not bad." Rin gave a small laugh. Her voice was light, almost like a song. It made Mira smile, but she couldn't ignore the growing worry inside her. The scan results still echoed in her mind. A new life was forming inside Rin, and it wasn't fully Aurelian. It wasn't fully human either. It was something in between. Mira spent every night reading reports and comparing DNA. Rin's body had changed to rescue. Her cells had merged with something, maybe with human nanotech or medical systems. Somehow, during the healing process, her body had started something new. Not through contact or science, but through survival programming hidden in her biology. Back up, Mira whispered to herself. Her body thinks it's the end of her species, so it created life automatically. Using any nearby DNA, she looked at the screen again. Human genetic markers were clear in the new life form. It was not a clone. It was a hybrid. The next morning, Mira entered Rin's room and found her standing at the window, looking at the stars. "You're awake early," Mira said softly. Rin turned and smiled. "Light comes." "Yes," Mira said, stepping closer. "The star rises soon. We'll pass the moon in 2 hours." Rin pointed to the stars and spoke slowly. "My sky, but not home." Mira nodded. "Do you remember your home?" Rin was quiet. She drew in the air with her fingers a spiral, then fire. All gone. Fire eats sky, Mira understood. Rin's planet had been destroyed. There was nothing left, but then Rin placed a hand on her belly. Double quotes now. One more. Mira's breath caught in her throat. "You know?" Rin looked at her and smiled again, gently. "Feel life." Meanwhile, Dean had been working on something strange. The ship's computers had picked up odd signals ever since Rin arrived. At first, they thought it was interference. But now the signals were spreading, repeating patterns. Lights blinking in rhythm, soft sounds playing through quiet halls. "I think it's her," Dean told the captain. "She's not doing it on purpose, but her body is connected to the ship's energy." "Explain," said Captain Yell, crossing his arms. "She's giving off a signal. Not dangerous, just alive. Our ship systems are responding to her presence. It's like she's speaking in a language made of light and sound." Captain Yell was silent. "Is she a threat?" Dean shook his head. "No, but she's changing things." Later that day, Mira brought Rin to the science room. They showed her pictures of Earth, of oceans, forests, cities, and people. Ayn watched each image carefully. When she saw children playing, her eyes grew wide. She touched the screen gently. "Little ones," she said. "Yes," Mira said. "Children." Rin smiled. "Soon, me too." Dean and Mira looked at each other. Rin was not afraid. She was proud. She understood what was happening, and she accepted it. But not everything was peaceful. That night, as the Hope Seeker passed a red planet, an alert sounded. Dean rushed to the control room. The ship had picked up strange signals. Other ships. "In the area, scavengers," Captain Yell said. "3 small ships, no ID. They're coming this way." Dean frowned. "Could they have picked up Rin's signal?" "It's possible," Yell said. "We need to be careful." Mira was called to the bridge. When she heard about the ships, her heart sank. "They'll want her," she said. "If they think she's rare ... or valuable, they'll try to take her." "We won't let that happen," Yell said. Back in her room, Rin sat with a drawing pad. She had drawn herself with Mira and Dean. Behind them was the ship, glowing with stars. But in the corner of the paper, she drew 3 black shapes, angry shapes. Mira saw the drawing. "You feel them, don't you?" Rin nodded. "Dark ships come." Mira took her hand. "We'll protect you. You are not alone." Rin looked into Myra's eyes. "Family," she said. Myra blinked, surprised. "Yes," she whispered. "Family." That night, the lights flickered again. The ship was preparing for contact. Shields went up. Scanners were active. The scavenger ship stayed. Far but close enough to follow. Captain Yell gave the order. "Stay on course. If they attack, we respond. Rin must not be taken." Dean and Mira stayed close to Rin. They moved her to a hidden room near the power core. There, the signals were weak. Rin didn't argue. She understood danger. As the ship floated silently through space, Rin sat between Mira and Dean. She placed both her hands on her stomach, closed her eyes, and began to glow faintly again. The walls around them pulsed with light, soft, peaceful light. "She's not just carrying life," Dean whispered. "She is life." And for the first time in a long time, humanity wasn't just reaching out to the stars. The stars were reaching back. The scavenger ships were still following Hope Seeker. They kept their distance, but everyone on the ship knew what it meant. Trouble was coming. Captain Yell stayed calm but gave clear orders. "Maintain speed. No one leaves their post. Protect the guest at all costs." In the hidden room near the power core, Rin sat quietly between Mira and Dean. The glow from her body was brighter now, especially around her chest and stomach. The baby inside her was growing fast. Dean looked at the latest scans on his tablet. "It's not growing like a human baby. It's faster, but stable." Mira nodded. "Her body is built for survival. Maybe when her people faced extinction, their biology changed. Maybe they found a way to create life when there was no time left." Dean glanced at Rin, who was now humming softly. "And now she's doing it with our help. Human systems, human DNA, human care." "Without knowing," Mira added. "We didn't plan it. But we're part of this now." That evening, Rin walked slowly through the ship. She had permission to move within the safe areas. Wherever she went, lights flickered. Doors opened before she touched them. The ship seemed to know her. She stopped in the engine room and placed her palm on the wall. The hum of the engines changed slightly. Dean, watching from above, was amazed. "She's not damaging anything," he told Mira through the comm. "She's sinking." "Like the ship is responding to her presence?" Mira asked. Dean nodded. "Yes, she's not just glowing anymore. She's connecting." Later in the medbay, Mira checked Rin's body again. Her heart was strong. Her blood was richer, glowing faintly in color. The baby was growing faster now. It had small arms and legs. No clear face yet, but it was alive. Very alive. Rin watched the screen, her eyes wide. She pointed at the shape and said, "Little star." Mira smiled. "Yes, your little star. Yours too," Rin added. Mira blinked. "Mine?" Rin touched Myra's hand gently. "You saved. You gave. Together." Mira's heart filled with warmth. She hadn't expected this feeling, like she was part of something bigger than science, bigger than duty. This was life, real and new. In the command room, Captain Yell was growing concerned. The scavenger ships were getting closer. Still no message. Still no attack. But their silence spoke louder than words. "Prepare for shields," he ordered, "just in case." Dean arrived with updates. "We think Rin's body is acting like a beacon. Not on purpose, but energy is rising. The more the baby grows, the stronger the signal. Can we stop it?" "No," Dean said. "If we try, we could hurt her or the child." Captain Yell sighed. "Then we keep moving. And prepare for visitors." That night, something new happened. Rin was resting when the lights around her turned golden. The ship's systems all shifted for a moment. Power slowed, then surged. Dean checked the readings and ran to the medbay. "Mira," he said, holding up the data. "She just released an energy pulse. It passed through the ship like a heartbeat." Mira checked Rin. The girl opened her eyes, glowing brighter than ever before. "Feel stronger," Rin whispered. Suddenly, her belly shimmered. A sound like a low chime filled the room. "The baby's energy just doubled," Mira said. "This isn't normal. This is something ancient." Dean sat down slowly. "She's not just having a baby, she's evolving." Rin began speaking more the next day. Not full sentences, but more words, more thoughts. She said things like, "Stars remember," and "Time bends when heart grows." Mira and Dean tried to understand. They recorded everything. But one thing was clear: Rin was changing, and she was bringing the ship along with her. But time was running out. By the third week, the baby was almost ready. Mira couldn't believe it. "It's only been 18 days, she told Dean. "That's impossible. But the scans don't lie." Dean nodded. "We're not dealing with normal biology. Rin's body is working like a star's core, full of power, building life with speed." Myra looked at Rin through the window. The girl was smiling, humming again. Her glow lit up the whole room. "She's not scared," Mira whispered. "She's never been scared," Dean replied. "She came from a dying world and still carries hope." Then the worst happened. The scavenger ships broke silence. They sent one message: "Surrender the Lan, or be destroyed." Captain Yell didn't answer. He turned to his crew. "Charge weapons. Set shields, we protect our own." Mira and Dean were called to the command room. Yell looked at them seriously. "If they come, I need to know, can Rin fight? Can she help?" Mira shook her head. "She's carrying a child. She's too close to the end." "But," Dean added, "she's connected to the ship. If we boost her energy safely, she might be able to power our shields or more." Captain Yell thought for a moment. "Then do what you must. We fight if they come." Back in her room, Rin watched the stars again. She felt the danger. She felt the life growing inside her. And she felt something more, a call, not just from the ship, not just from her body, a call from the future. She placed both hands on her stomach and whispered, "You are not the end. You are the beginning." Outside, in the black space between stars, enemy ships moved closer, but inside Hope Seeker, a secret was growing stronger every second, a secret of life, light, and hope. The Hope Seeker drifted slowly through dark space, chased by 3 unknown ships. They stayed just outside of attack range, but close enough to be a threat. Captain Yell stood on the command deck, eyes locked on the screen. "No message since the warning?" he asked. "None," the officer replied. Dean entered with his tablet. "Their engines are charging. If they come closer, they'll attack." Captain Yell nodded. We won't run. And we won't give them Rin. Meanwhile, in the medical room, Mira sat beside Rin, holding her hand. Rin's glow was stronger than ever. Her skin shimmered softly, her eyes calm. The child inside her moved with gentle energy. Do you feel pain? Mira asked. Arine shook her head. No, feel full. Full of sky, Mira smiled. She had heard Rin say strange things like that before. But this time, it felt different, deeper. Do you understand what's happening? Mira asked gently. Arine looked at her. Life comes, not only mine, yours too. Mira blinked. Mine? Rin placed a hand on Mira's chest. You care, you stay. You protect. That makes you part. Mira's eyes filled with emotion. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Rin's words were simple, but they touched her deeply. In the engine room, Dean and the science team worked fast. He was building a connection between Rin and the ship's power core. Not to drain her, but to let her give back. Her energy is natural, he explained. But it's growing. We can shape it, guide it, let her support our systems, just like she supports her child. But what if it's too much? A crew member asked. Dean sighed. Then we risk everything. But we don't leave her alone. Not now. That night, the enemy ships made their move. Alarms rang through the halls of Hope Seeker. Lasers fired from the scavenger ships, hitting the shields. The first wave didn't break through, but the crew knew the next one could. Captain Yell gave the order, everyone to stations. Mira, stay with Rin. Dean, are you ready? Dean's voice answered, almost. We're linking her now. In the medical room, the lights flickered. Mira held Rin's shoulders gently. We need your help. She whispered, only if you're ready. Rin opened her eyes, glowing silver. I am. Dean's voice came through the speaker. Begin connection now. Rin sat up. Wires were placed near her hands and chest. They didn't touch her, but floated just above her skin. Energy passed through the air, soft and warm at first, then stronger. The ship's lights turned gold. The engines hummed louder. And outside, the shields brightened like the sun. On the bridge, the crew cheered. It's working. One officer shouted, shields at 150%. Hold steady, Captain Yell said. Return firelight only, no kill shots. Let's scare them away. The Hope Seeker fired back. Red beams danced across space. One scavenger ship turned away. The other two stayed, but didn't attack again. They're afraid, Dean said softly from the engine room. They don't understand what's protecting us. Back in the med bay, Rin's body trembled slightly. Mira checked her. Are you okay? Yes, Rin whispered. Energy flows, baby shines. Mira ran a quick scan. The child's growth had stopped, stabilized. The energy Rin had given the ship had also helped her own body. She was stronger than ever. You're amazing, Mira said with a smile. Rin looked at her. Not just me, all of you. The next morning, the enemy ships were gone. They had vanished into deep space, too afraid to fight something they didn't understand. Captain Yell sent a quiet message to Earth. Survivor safe. Unknown energy source. Stabilized. Returning soon. But Rin didn't want to return yet. She stood in the ship's garden room, looking at the green plants. She touched a leaf with wonder. Your world has so many colors, she said. Yes, Mira replied. You'll see them soon. Rin was quiet. Then she said, I remember my world. It was green too, but then the fire came. What happened? Mira asked. Disease, Rin said. A skyburner, made by others. My people were too kind. We had no weapons. And you escaped? Last pod, they sent me. Said maybe I find a friend. Mira touched her shoulder. You did. Rin smiled, then looked at her stomach. And I bring hope. Later, Dean joined them. He had brought a small toy, a glowing ball that floated in the air. He showed it to Rin. for the baby, he said. When they arrive, Rin touched it and laughed. The ball responded by shining brighter. This child, she said, will not be only mine. Will be yours too. Dean looked confused. Ours? Rin nodded. All of you. The child belongs to stars and to hearts. Not just one. Captain Yell visited next. He looked serious but kind. You've given this ship something more than science. He told Rin. You gave it life. Rin bowed slightly. And you gave me safety. We are one. Yell looked at Mira and Dean. Earth is ready to welcome her. But we must be careful. Some will want to study her. Some may not understand. Then we protect her, Mira said. Always. Dean added. I and looked at them both. I trust. That night, as the stars passed slowly by the window, Rin placed both hands on her belly again. She sang softly, her voice like wind and water. Mira sat beside her, listening. What is life? She asked. And smiled. Life is light. Shared. Mira didn't fully understand, but she felt it. The stars outside were calm, but inside the Hope Seeker, tension was rising again. Captain Yell received a new message through secret space channels. It was not from the scavengers. It was from a large alien group called the Varnak, a powerful race known for collecting rare life forms. Their message was clear. You carry something that belongs to the galaxy. Surrender the Hourlen and her child, or face consequences. Captain Yell crushed the message chip in his hand. We saved her, he said. She's not a thing. She's one of us now. In the medbay, Rin felt something in her heart. Her glow faded for a moment, and she held her stomach. Mira rushed to her side. Are you okay? Rin nodded, but her voice was soft. Dark minds, searching. Dean entered with a tablet. The Varnak know, they're coming. Bigger than the scavenger ships, we can't outrun them. Then we hide, Mira said. We can't let them take her. Captain Yell called for a full crew meeting. We will not give her away, he said. But we must prepare. If they attack, we defend. If they board, we protect. This is more than one girl. This is the future. The crew agreed. Many had seen Rin walking the halls. They had seen her smile, felt the warmth of her presence. She was no longer just a guest. She was family. Dean began building a safe chamber deep inside the ship. It was hidden near the engine walls, protected by strong metal and layers of energy. It wasn't large, but it had air, heat, and shields. Rin would stay there during the danger. She won't like hiding, Mira said. I know, Dean replied, but she understand. Before moving her, Mira spoke with Rin. She explained slowly that the ship might be attacked again, that the people coming were not kind. We'll protect you, Mira said. But we need you to stay in a safe place. Rin touched Mira's hand. I trust you. I trust Dean. I stay. She looked down at her belly. Child must live. I must protect too. Hours later, the warning came. Varnak ship approaching, the officer called out. It's huge. And fast. Captain Yell's voice echoed through the halls. All stations, shield up. Get Rin to safety. Mira and Dean helped Rin walk slowly to the safe chamber. The baby inside her was heavy now, and her energy was glowing through her clothes. She stopped before entering. Will you stay? Mira nodded. I'll be right outside, I promise. Dean added, we'll fight for you. As Rin entered the chamber, the doors sealed behind her. She sat down slowly, breathing deeply. The walls were quiet, warm, and dark. She closed her eyes and spoke softly. Little star, stay bright. The storm will pass. Outside, the Hope Seeker prepared for battle. The Varnak ship came into view, a dark gray beast of metal shaped like a blade. Lights flashed across its surface. Dozens of smaller attack ships surrounded it. They're scanning us, Dean said. They're looking for her. Block them, Yell ordered. Now. But the scan had already begun to affect the ship. Lights flickered. Walls shook. Then, a voice filled every speaker cold and deep. "You cannot hide the Aurelen. She belongs to all. Give her, and you will be safe." Captain Yell stepped forward and shouted into the system, "She is free, and she is not yours." There was silence for a moment. Then the Varnak opened fire. Lasers hit the shields. The ship shook. Sparks flew in the hallways. Crew members held on as systems blinked and buzzed. The shields held, but only barely. Dean rushed to the power control room. "If we use Rin's energy link again, we can boost the shields." "No," Mara said through comms. "She's too close to birth." "It's risky. She wants to help," Dean replied. "She's part of this ship now." Inside the safe chamber, Rin heard the sounds of battle. She could feel the pain of the ship through the energy in her body. She placed her hands on the floor and whispered, "I am not weak. I am not alone." Her glow brightened. The walls lit up. Her energy flowed through the wires, through the metal, into the ship. All over Hope Seeker, lights returned. The shields became gold instead of blue. Captain Yell shouted, "Shield at full power. Fire back." The human ship fired again. This time, the beams were stronger. One of the Varnak's smaller ships exploded. "They're pulling back." An officer said, "They didn't expect that." Dean ran to the chamber and opened the door slightly. Rin was still glowing. "Are you okay?" he asked. She smiled weakly. "Yes, but time is close." Mira joined them and scanned Rin quickly. Her face turned serious. "She's going into labor." They moved her gently to a soft room near the core, quiet and peaceful. Rin lay down, her breathing deep. The lights around her dimmed. Outside, the Varnak ships turned and began to fly away. "They gave up," Captain Yell said. "We won." "No," Mira whispered. She won. Inside the quiet room, Rin began to hum. Her body was wrapped in light. She did not cry out. She did not scream. Her body moved with peace, like a soft wave. Mira held her hand. Dean watched silently. And then, like a star being born, the light around Rin burst into a soft glow, and the child appeared. Not from pain, but from energy. Not with blood, but with brilliance. The baby was small, glowing faintly, eyes closed but smiling. Ein held the child close. "My little star," she whispered. "You are safe now." Soft golden light filled the quiet room. Rin lay on a padded bed, holding the newborn close to her chest. The baby didn't cry. It breathed slowly, calmly, and its tiny body glowed like warm sunlight. The child's skin was smooth like Rin's, but its eyes, when they opened, shone with a spark of human brown. Mira stood beside the bed, her hand gently resting on Rin's shoulder. Dean stood near the doorway, silent, his eyes full of wonder. "She's beautiful," Mira whispered. I nodded. "She is light. She is peace." The ship was silent now. The Varnak had left defeated and confused by what they had seen. They had come expecting to take a rare creature. Instead, they met something they could not understand, a new kind of life. Dr. Mira ran soft scans on the baby. Everything looked good. Strong heartbeat, clear breathing. No illness, no defects. But one thing stood out. "This child isn't just part of you," she said to Rin, her voice calm. "She's part of us too." Rin looked at the baby's small hand, which reached out toward Mira. "Family," she said softly. Mira nodded, trying not to cry. "Yes, family." Over the next few days, the child grew faster than expected. Not unnaturally fast, but quicker than a human baby. She could hold her head up after 2 days. Her glow became stronger. Sometimes, the lights in the room responded to her small sounds. "She has Rin's energy," Dean said one morning, "but also something new like human balance." Rin named her Elu, which in her language meant light after storm. Mira loved the name. "It fits," she said. She's a new beginning. Captain Yell visited 3 days after the birth. He stood quietly beside Rin and looked down at the child in her arms. This ship has faced many things, he said, but nothing like this. She is not danger, Rin said kindly. I know, Yell replied. She is hope. He placed a small badge beside the baby, a symbol of Earth and peace. When we return to Earth, he said, you both will be protected, but not everyone. On Earth would understand. Back in his lab, Dean looked through the latest messages from command. Some leaders wanted to study the child. Others asked too many questions. How was the baby made? Was it safe? Could this happen again? They don't see her as a child, Dean said, shaking his head. They see her as a science puzzle. Mira sat across from him, holding a message pad. We have to speak for her. We were part of her creation. That makes us responsible. Dean nodded. We protect her. Just like we protected Rin. Rin spent most of her time in the garden room now. She sat under the small trees, Elu sleeping beside her. Plants grew faster when Rin was near. The room stayed warm and full of light. One afternoon, Elu woke up crying, not in fear, but in strong energy. Her glow spread across the room. Flowers bloomed instantly. Leaves turned golden. Mira ran in. Is everything all right? Rin smiled. She is learning. She sings to the roots. She's amazing, Mira said. She is new, Rin replied. Made of 2 skies. That evening, the ship flew close to a peaceful system. Captain Yell decided to stop for repairs and rest. A small planet below had fresh air, clean lakes, and quiet valleys. Rin asked to go down. I want her to feel real ground, she said. To see the sun. Captain Yell agreed. Only for 1 day. And we stay nearby. Rin, Mira, and Dean took a small shuttle down to the planet. Elu sat in Mira's lap, looking wide-eyed at the sky. The planet was calm. They walked through a green field. Rin placed Elu on the soft grass. The baby touched the ground and laughed a sweet sound like tiny bells. She's happy, Mira said. She feels free, Rin added. No walls, no noise. Dean pointed to a nearby hill. Let's go there. We can watch the sun. At the top of the hill, they all sat together. The sun began to set. The sky turned orange, pink, then deep blue. Rin looked at Mira and Dean. You both gave me more than life. You gave me a future. Mira looked down at Elu. You gave us something too. Dean nodded. A reason to believe. As night fell, stars lit the sky. Elu reached out with her tiny hand, touching the air as if feeling the stars. Rin spoke softly. She will walk in 2 worlds, one of heart, one of stars. She need protection, Mira said. She will have it. Dean promised. The moment felt quiet but powerful. Not loud like war, not fast like a chase, but soft like the beginning of something great. Back on the ship, Rin placed Elu in a soft bed. She sang a song from her home, a melody with no words. Mira listened from the doorway. She won't remember the song, Mira said, but she will feel it, Rin replied. Songs live in the soul. That night, Mira sat alone in the medbay thinking. This journey had started with a frozen pod, a weak girl, and a silent signal. Now they had a child bright, strange and special. And the world would soon know. The Hope Seeker returned to Earth after many months in deep space. But this time, it was not just a science ship. It was carrying a miracle. In the cargo bay, Rin held her child close. Elu, now nearly 2 months old, looked around with curious eyes. She didn't speak, but her sounds had rhythm like music. Her soft glow still followed her everywhere. Mira stood beside them, holding a small bag of supplies. Are you ready? Rin nodded slowly. Ready. But unsure. I understand, Mira said. Earth is beautiful. But not all people are kind. Dean joined them, placing a gentle hand on Rin's shoulder. You won't be alone. We're staying with you, every step. As the ship landed, Earth's sky came into view, blue and bright, with white clouds dancing above green land. Rin looked through the window in silence. My world had skies like this, she whispered. Long ago, when the doors opened, warm air entered the ship. The sounds of birds, voices, and wind greeted them. Rin stepped out slowly, carrying Alu. A small team from Earth Science Council stood waiting. They wore clean uniforms and neutral expressions. Some looked curious. Some looked worried. Mira stepped forward. This is Rin. This is Alu. They are not threats. They are life. A woman from the council stepped forward. We only want to understand. We welcome them, if they're willing. Rin looked at her child, then back at the people. She spoke softly but clearly. We come in peace. My child is not danger. She is future. For the first few days, they were kept in a quiet nature station, surrounded by trees and protected by security. It was not a prison, but it was not fully free either. Scientists asked questions. Mira and Dean helped explain everything. Rin answered what she could, drawing pictures when words failed her. Elu sat quietly through the tests, always holding something soft, a ribbon, a flower, or Mira's finger. One evening, as Rin walked through the garden near the station, a scientist approached. Is your child aware of her power? He asked. She is aware of love, Rin replied. Can she be taught to control energy? She will learn when she is ready. She is still just a child. The scientist nodded, but his eyes were full of worry. Dean later told Mira, they're afraid. They don't know if she's a gift or a threat. She's a child, Mira replied. Nothing else. Sometimes people forget that, Dean said sadly. Soon, the world began to whisper about Elu. News reports spoke of a light-born child. Some called her the future of humanity. Others called her danger in disguise. Photos leaked Elu glowing softly, Rin walking barefoot in the garden, Mira reading stories to them under the trees. One night, Mira found Rin sitting alone. Is this too much? She asked. Rin shook her head. No, but the noise is loud. I do not want her to grow in fear. She won't, Mira promised. We'll find a way. Somewhere peaceful. A decision was made. The Science Council agreed to move Rin, Elu, Mira, and Dean to a private home far from the cities. It was in a wide green valley with trees, a river, and open skies. Not a lab, not a base. A real home. When they arrived, Rin smiled softly. It feels like the beginning. Dean unpacked their things. Mira set up a learning room for Elu, and for the first time in many months, peace returned. You grew quickly, not just in body but in mind. She began to speak simple words. Tree, water, mama, light. She could feel people's feelings, especially when they were close. When Mira was tired, Elu would hum. When Dean was sad, she would hold his hand. She doesn't. Just learn from us, Dean said one day. She teaches us. Years passed quietly. You became a young girl, half human, half Aurellan. But fully loved. She grew tall, with glowing eyes and a soft voice. Plants grew faster around her. Music followed her steps. She could power small machines without touching them. But she only used her gifts when needed. The world never forgot her. Some still feared her. Some admired her. But no one could deny what she had become, a bridge between two worlds. One evening, Elu sat with Mira under the stars. Why do people fear what they don't know? Elu asked. Mira smiled. Because new things are scary, but you're more than new. You're kind. And kindness always wins. Elu looked at the stars. Will I ever go up again? Someday, Mira said. When you're ready. Rin watched from inside the house, her eyes full of love. She had come from fire and ice. She had lost everything. But Earth gave her something new, a family, a future, a daughter, and far above, The stars watched quietly. They had once taken everything from Rin. But now, through human kindness, they had given something back. A child not of war, but of hope. A future not of fear, but of light.